Hey guys, how are we? Can I just get a quick check that everyone who's already logged in can hear me, just to make sure I know we're all up and running. Hey guys, how we going? I just want to yeah, cheers lads. Look, we'll get straight into it. There's a couple of things I just want to cover off at the front end tonight. We've obviously not been streaming for quite a while, mainly due to the fact that I've been down in Melbourne longer than I would have expected for a variety of reasons, including COVID. So the internet down there is rubbish, and I know we've had problems. So the first couple of streams up here, I'm based in Sydney, and there's the internet's up here is a lot better. And there's just a few things I wanted to make sure. It's no point getting on these streams and the internet falling off every 2 minutes. So back in Sydney, and tonight will just be a bit more of a relaxed one. I want to try and get some questions in as we go along. I think the benefit of these streams in the short to mid term will be the questions and the banter that come in. We'll do the usual. We'll go through a bit of the statistics and we'll look at some of the sales. But moving forward, I want to try and grow this out into a bit more of a holistic review of the entire sort of NFTeams ecosystem. It's turning not just to be looking at the floor and looking at the images of the teams. This is becoming bigger and bigger as we all hoped it would. And I think this show as we go on, depending on what you guys want to see, we'll grow it out into looking at sort of the tournaments. I could have done a full show tonight based on the jerseys that had been previewed to us over the last couple of days. So any ideas with that, will definitely take a look at. And I'm just getting back into the swing of things, trying to get my head around YouTube Live and all the streaming stuff again. So we'll see how it goes. There is going to be a duck race. There's probably always going to be a duck race. People will stop tuning in if there wasn't. The duck race tonight's a little bit different, and it points to a direction I want to cover off tonight, but will be evident as things go forward. Tonight we're going to raffle off or do a duck race for the prizes that were put forward for the Ballman project, Stan Wawrinka's NFT project, which I think you all know I'm a mod over there. I look after their Discord for them, help them out with a few things, and tonight the duck race is going to be for the prizes that we have for that project. Obviously, I don't want to infiltrate the NFTeams part of this episode in this stream, but they're obviously linked because we did that collaboration where it was the prizes were exclusive to the NFTeams community, which was good. We had about 200, we had 222 people put in for the raffle. We've done a random number generator down to 16 people. The 16 people will all win a prize. So if you're on the duck race tonight, you're guaranteed a prize. First prize will be one Ballman NFT. The second to sixth place prizes will be 5 signed Stan rackets, and then there'll be 10 signed Stan tennis balls. So some decent prizes for you, and thanks to the Ballman team for letting me give those away on the stream tonight. So we'll see how we go. We'll get through it, and any questions we'll just have a chat about it. So just going through, we've got about 15 people on the line, and I don't know if it's going to work out because the names were random and I've just pulled them off a random generator. I don't know if anyone on the stream is going to actually be involved in the duck race, which will be a little bit weird. It's not going to be the normal style duck race that we do, and there's going to be a bit more that we look at for the NFTeams duck races. Duck races are going to be, if you haven't worked it out already, a bit of a staple for this show. And to that end, sort of just want to cover off. There will always be an NFTeams. Well, I hope there will be if there's demand for it. There'll always be an NFTeams version of the Big Show. We've rebranded the name of the channel, the Big Show, and I think the idea of doing that and not moving away from NFTeams, I want to try and cover off not just NFTeams content. I think one of the best things that I've enjoyed from the NFTeams community is the banter in the Discord around the other projects. I've learned so much. I've actually made a decent few flips and profits based on the advice that a lot of you guys and the guys in the Discord throughout there. So I want to try and incorporate a little bit of that review of other things. And to be honest, a lot of it will be the stuff we talk about in the Discord, going into it in a bit more detail, and trying to bring the live aspect to some of those Discord channels that you see in the NFT strategy channel within the Discord. So we'll branch out into looking at some of the stuff that I'm involved with, some of the stuff we're talking about other than NFTeams. But I see those two as different streams. So maybe once a week we'll talk about the other projects, and then once a week we'll just have an NFTeams focus project. So you don't have to sit through waffle of other projects if all you're interested in is NFTeams. And similarly, the guys that follow or that aren't interested, only just interested in NFTeams, will be able to tune in and get some other information and banter. And I've thought a lot about that. There's been I'm trying to think of how to grow the channel. Again, if it falls flat on its backside and no one tunes in, we'll have a good idea of its worth. But I just want to look at different things. So if you've got any ideas, just drop me a DM or throw it in the community involvement channel in the Discord, and we'll take a look at that. But I think we'll do like a midweek one, which will be just a review of other projects, and this will be the Sunday night, which the Sunday night slot seems to work well. So unless there's any questions there, yeah, guys, look, good to be back. Definitely, you can see the comments coming through now. Thanks for tuning in. I've missed doing the streams because it makes sure that I go through and pick up all of the bits and pieces on the stats. I've been logging the stats, as some of you would see in the Discord, but these streams sort of keep you a bit more accountable because you've got to go over a few things. And whilst it's not so in depth tonight, and I'm hoping it'll be a bit more of the Q&A style, as we get started up and running, we'll get back to those standard segments and we'll go through it bit by bit. So the big one I want to talk about straight off the bat, obviously the floor price. Now, some of you don't like talking about the floor price. You probably aren't tuning in if you don't want to hear about the floor price. So 0.147 is the highest we've been, which you can see here on the OpenSea activity tracker. If you're in standard OpenSea, and you can see all of the teams, when you click on the activity, most of you would know you get a good a simple overview of the sales and the volume over the last little while. If you put it on for 14 days, you can see we had a bit of a bump a couple of weeks ago, and then it's slowed down. But by relative standards over the last 14 days, the thing I was looking at was the 14-day volume. We're nearly trading at 4 ETH per day, which is not to be sniffed at. It certainly hasn't been that high over previous weeks, Christmas, New Year into December, where we went a bit slower, and we'll look at that in a second. But I think 4 ETH a day, if you look at the price of the teams on the floor, which were 0.1, 0.11, 0.12 over recent times, that's quite a lot of teams going every day for the last 14 days. So I think that's been a pretty good. Well, we've all seen it in the Discord. It's been popping off. The sales bot's been working overtime, and I think it's something we've all known was going to come. It's just we didn't know when it was going to come, and that I can remember sitting here on episode 3 or 4 trying to predict it. We were thinking, in the run up to those tournaments and the beta tournament, we'd see a bit more of the people FOMOing in, and the guys that only had 1 or 2 teams picking up a few more. So it has been interesting to see that those sorts of predictions, which a lot of us had, are starting to come true. So just interrogating the floor price a little bit more. So Mind Analytics is a website we've used on here before, and I usually put a few comments in the Discord about this one. It's pretty good. It's relatively up to date. I like using it just to keep an eye on not just this project, but a few other projects that I'm involved in. I think it's probably one of those tools where you can track those projects that you're in a bit more detail. So this is really telling. This is the all-time floor price for the project. You always get that initial bump when you start, and we saw that with NFTeams, and then it drops down and goes steady away. Now when you take the noise out of this graph, you can see from back in November time we've been growing slowly, but it doesn't take a stats genius to work out what's going on here over the last few days, and particularly the last 3 days since the 19th, 20th of January. We've really upped the floor now. I think combination of a couple of things, the bit that we've just talked about, where we've had a lot of people get eyes on the project, a lot more Twitter activity and discussion based on the tournaments, the Australian Open Metaverse collaboration, and the extra tournament that we got based on that generated some chatter as well. And generally just the momentum gained on the project as we move closer to the actual main projects. I think all of that's contributed to the floor really in a couple of days, very quickly going up by around about 50%, which isn't anything to be sniffed at. Overall, I think we'll continue to see a steady increase. The floor was thinning out from the start of January, and you could see that whilst there were still a few teams at 0.09, 0.1, 0.11, there wasn't 10, 15 teams at each of those price points. It was slowly thinning out. And I think that's what we're seeing now. The wave has come, people have come in and taken all those, and it hasn't taken a lot for us to see that 50% growth, which is obviously pretty good for all of us and gives people an option to either buy in, obviously at a higher price, or move a few of their teams on that they've been holding from the lower prices. The number of owners is something again that we normally have a look at, and I know that Steve's got the ambition by the end of the year to get us up to around about 3,000. But if we just have a quick look at the number of owners, all time you would expect it to go up, and we had that big surge in November into December. But then we did quieten down through December, and we talked about that on the stream. The last stream we did was on the 5th of December, and we were sitting at around about 2,150 teams, so around about this area here. It continued to go down in the run up to Christmas in January, but you can see now over the last few weeks we've had that big surge in teams, and we got up to 2,170. It has dropped down a little bit, and I think that's been based on the floor action. I think there were some people that had one or two teams that had held on to them and were waiting for the floor to rise just to get out either at the price they paid or make a little bit of a profit. There's plenty of people in this game to make 0.02, 0.03 on every NFT and just flip and grind away. But that's been good to see that we've corrected that little decline in December, and now we're on the up, and that's been trending that way for the last 3 weeks. So again, more eyes on the project, grow those numbers of owners, which is just going to be a healthy sign for the project. Just grabbing a quick beer there. Okay, so just a couple of questions coming in. Matt Benwell, thanks for tuning in, Matt. How is the confidence overall with NFTeams? I know you don't frequent the Discord too much, Matt, so you probably don't listen to my 40, 50 opinions on this question per day. I look at both sides. Obviously, it can be construed as negative, constructive, however you want to call it, from time to time. But generally, every time I get asked that question, I give an honest answer. And the reason I do that, apart from that's just who I am, I've got a lot of mates that have bought into the project based on my recommendation. I've got a lot of people who I don't know in real life that have contacted me and bought into the project based on my recommendation. So I wouldn't be doing right by them if I wasn't given a genuine answer to that question. So it's pretty easy at the moment. Times are good. You can see from the data on the screen we are trending in the right direction. I think we had that bearish patch of 6 or so weeks leading into December where a lot of things closed down and not many people are spending as much money on NFTs. We've seen the resurgence in January, and at the start of January I was a little bit worried that NFTeams were missing out on it, but obviously Steve pulled the trigger on the beta tournament, got that through early on the 6th of Jan. The Australian Open Metaverse, the collaborations with people like Futera are going to be big for us, and I think we've seen in the last 3 weeks probably just as much action in terms of sales, Discord, as we'd seen in the previous 2 months. So I think it's a good time to be an NFTeams holder. If you bought in at mint at less than 0.1 with gas, you've now got the option of moving a few teams if you want. But I think as holders, a lot of us here are long-term holders. I can see who's on the chat. I think it's just nice to see the project starting to get some of the eyes on it that it deserves, and we see the new people coming into the Discord regularly. They're interested, they're engaged, the community's fantastic. They get around them, they welcome them. You know, when the guys have put together the getting started stuff, it's just the community driven stuff, which has always been there, is now coupled with the actual tangible stuff that Steve's putting together and Matt and the team, where we've got content now, we've got utility, the Twitter activities off the charts. We've got, I think maybe half of my Twitter followers must be NFTeams holders or actual NFTeams Twitter accounts, where people, you see them popping up every day. There's a new NFTeams account where someone's created the Twitter account in the name of their NFTeams, and I just think it's an exciting time to be in the project. There's still so much stuff to come as well, which makes me super bullish on the whole project. So I've picked up another couple of teams in the last week. And I can remember when the floor was 0.07, 0.08, I picked up a few extra teams, and I thought, should I do more, because I was expecting this wave to hit us, but you just never know. And I think a few of us got caught out because it happened so quickly, but I managed to get a couple of teams in that 0.1 to 0.04 area, which I liked the look of the Newcastle shirt. So long answer to your question, Matt, but a good question, because I think it just gives us that chance to give a bit of an overview of where we are, which is the sort of stuff we should be covering off on this stream. A better question and a more important question from Jace: what beer am I drinking? I'm on the good stuff, the goat beer. I received my merch just recently. I should do a photo actually, and I've got the magnetic wraparound beer holder, so stubby holder. So I'm living the high life at the minute with the goat, which is the drink of choice. Pretty good value actually. No worries, Matt. That's all right. Shintage, yeah, you're right. I think most of the flippers, it's a strange thing, because we all talk about it in the Discord. We're all flipping NFTs, or some of us are, some of us aren't. But the mentality and the psychology around flipping NFTs is fascinating to me and a lot of you guys. NFTeams was definitely not one you wanted to get in on day one, and a lot of us knew this. Some people came into it and didn't understand it at first, but it didn't take us long to work it out. It's not really one you would get into. You know, you're not going to go from 0.1 up to 3 ETH overnight, based on the fact that the tournaments weren't built. There was a lot of unknowns. Whilst we know and love NFTeams and we're all sports fans, the reality of it is still a niche part of the NFT world, the sports and the sports tipping type stuff. But as you can see, it's grown and grown and grown. So I think you're right. Anyone who was holding is either sold out at a loss, sold out for break even, or is now seeing that they can get out of it a little bit cheaper, make a little bit more money, and they've gone as well. So hopefully the people that we have in it now are the real long-term holders, and we can just continue through the market and the product, the utility, the social media, to try and continue bringing in new people. I just want to cover off this tool that we've been talking about a little bit in the Discord. I haven't dove into it, NFTnerds.ai. I haven't dove into it in terms of the premium. I was going to give it a go, but I just haven't got around to it. I should have a lot more time over the next couple of weeks to have a look at it. But even in the non-premium version, you can start to get a little bit of a view of what's going on. So I just wanted to flag that for you. It's something I used a little bit when the Australian Open Metaverse stuff was kicking on. What you've got here on the right-hand side, the left-hand side stuff, the trades and the listings aren't up to date. They're pretty old, and I think you don't get the live version of that unless you get the premium. This here, though, is over a long period of time. This is the graph of sales over a 30-day period. You can see back at the end of December. It's just another way of highlighting the same information, but I like to look at this to see the trend. You can see down there at about 0.1 ETH, and if you draw a line through here of a trend, you can see it's slowly going up, crosses the 0.1 ETH mark, goes up and up and up, and then this volume tracker at the bottom just shows you how much volume we've had in the last few days, and the combination and the cluster of these little gold dots. You can start to see that they're more pronounced and they're trending in the right direction. So if you just looked at this on a 3 or 4 day graph, you can see that it is really taken off, which is good to see. But also just wanted to highlight that tool. It's one that I use, and you can just get a bit of an idea of some of the sales that have been going off. A quick look to the Etherscan page. Some of you go on this more regularly than others, but just wanted to to touch on the fact that we had our first 100 token holder girl bot, I think in the Discord. I think that's their username. Um, didn't come out of nowhere. Has always had a lot of teams, but has really rocketed through the last couple of weeks. Rode this wave perfectly. I think picked up a lot of nice teams for good prices, and to think we've now got somebody over 100 teams owned, which must have taken some effort to get through the Australian Open tipping. And obviously we've got our resident wheels in there, one of which is Justice with 80. I think it's just healthy that we're not completely owned by wheels, but we see this confidence of people wanting to buy in and take on what isn't a, it's at 100 teams, even at floor prices, which all the teams wouldn't be, with the floor the way it is at the moment. That's 15 ETH, if I've got my maths right, worth of teams. That's not a shabby investment, and we've got people with 20s, 30, 40s, and if you track some of the names on here, I look at it every now and again, and I know not everyone has them in the wallet that's named on here. The people that were having 25s and 30s are now moving up to 30s and 35s, and then they've got a few more in the 40s and 50s that we never had before. So it's interesting to see. There's obviously some unique wallets coming in, and we've had an increase in the number of unique wallets over the last month. But the long-term diamond-handed holders, the loyalists are absolutely picking up more teams. They can see the value in what's being created. Just go back to the sales activity. I haven't necessarily. There is. I've picked out one bargain over the last couple of days, which I just want to have a look at quickly. What's been really good to see is the sales haven't just been the floor. I don't think the really high end, the 1 ETH plus area in terms of the rarity has been hammered very much. I think a lot of people, as the floor's been increasing, they've had a view on trying to just get enough teams in their wallet to satisfy the number that they're happy with, and I think the floor's been where most people have concentrated on. But we have seen recently, we just had a couple of hours ago. I think that was is that Goggles in the community. Jesus, yeah, Goggles in the Goggles 16 got the trap and gators there. 0.5 ETH, which has been one of the biggest sales recently. We had, I think we had a robot that went for 0.5 just recently. Here we go, the Mumbai Undead, 0.55. This was good because this was a pretty cool robot, because it has the little, I'll blow it up actually because it's worth having a look at. The animation on the robots is interesting because not many of them are the same. We're going to preview the robots, just as if you're on. We're going to preview the robots next week as part of the preview trait or character of the week. I didn't have time to get all the full research done, but I was looking at this guy. Make zombies great again. Love the following that's built up, but even just this little red dot, the way it goes up through its head, the robots are pretty cool. And I think whilst everyone was looking at the floor, that robot went for 0.55, which I thought was pretty good. I mean, not everyone likes the zombies, but there you go. We did have a 1.5. This was the biggest sale we've had for quite a while, actually. This was, I think it was just in the last 24 hours. And we had the choke and board apes picked up. The board apes had gone a bit quiet over the last couple of weeks as the attention's being turned elsewhere, the beta tournament and the Australian Open Metaverse tournament. But I think that's a pretty clean ape, one of the better looking ones, and that's being picked up at 1.5. Again, it just shows the value in the project. People aren't just going in for the low floor items, and that was pleasing to see, because I certainly hadn't gotten worried, but we definitely haven't seen much movement in the overall rare category. So that rare at the moment for me is probably anything that goes for 1 ETH plus. We haven't had a heap of those. I think there's a gold that went for 0.5 recently. So 0.55 seems to be 0.5 seems to be where we're at in terms of the higher end that people are willing to sell at the moment. And I think that's just because you can see here all these 0.15s. People are getting set at the lower end, not wanting to miss out as the floor rises. They're wanting to get as many teams as they're happy with. I'll just come back to the question in a minute, Chintage. I've got you there. I just want to quickly cover off this number here: 789, 789 teams overall. If I do this right, that should pop up on the screen, the little graph that we have a look at in the Discord. You can see that the teams, in terms of when this was in December, the teams weren't necessarily being sold. A lot of people started to delist their teams in December, probably with a view to thinking, you know what, this wave of sales is coming. And then we had that dramatic fall where there was lots of sales in January, at the start of January. People delisting because all of the tournament stuff was coming, and it's really just dropped off. And to be honest, I need to update the graph, because it's dropped down to 789, and that's the lowest it's ever been. So today, 789 teams for sale, the absolute lowest we've seen. And I think, again, going back to Matt's question earlier, strength of the project, and I'm super stoked with that number. Just cover off this graph, which is again becoming obsolete, just as has just commented on it in the Discord. Essentially, the teams below 0.15, there's 4 teams below 0.15, which we'll have a look at in a second. The grey line is gone, the gold line is gone, there's nothing below 0.1 and 0.12, it's all been snapped up. And you can see this line up here, it's only just started to track it, 0.25. There's only a couple of hundred teams, 212 teams left at that price, which, you know, in a 10K project is not a lot. It won't take us long if the momentum continues to build, which I think it will. It absolutely won't take us long to get back to higher numbers. Well, not back to get up to the higher numbers, because this is a dramatic fall that we've been seeing of late. So I think, again, all good signs for where we're going. Shinted, so the 3 bears sweep, seems there's another big sweep coming also. Do we know who or had happened? There's a combination of a few things. Steve went on a spending rampage. I think, to be fair to him, he has been very, very restrained in his buy, and I think he knows better than anyone what's coming up. If I was him, I'd have been sat on over 100 teams myself. I think he's been very fair in allowing everyone else to get set. He's given us 2 months to get the teams we wanted, and he's now said, look, I need to build my roster up as well. And Steve went on a bit of a spending spree. There was a couple of spurts there where he bought 5-10 teams using the genie.xyz tool, just sniping them all up at the same time, mainly floor teams, but he did pick a few. The 3 ETH from the Beard Bears group was useful, and there's going to be another 10 ETH, 10 ETH coming our way whenever they sell. They'll sell in start of February. Once that project hits 25%, we'll get another 10 ETH, which, you know, just looking at the numbers we've just seen, how thin the thing is up to 0.25, that will have a good impact in. So I think those of you that are involved in that project, keep an eye on when it gets to 25% sold out, because there'll be a big floor sweep going on. And I don't think they picked up all floor teams. I think they bounced around the floor, but I think there's a few that they picked up which were more, well, actually they did. They picked the bears up, didn't they? They went and got a couple of koalas or something like that, because it's the Beard Bears. But they're that money will come in, and I think it's all just great. There's more and more stuff people coming into the project. So there's just been a combination of a few things, and those higher wallets going from 70, 80 up to 100 as well have all just contributed to it all. The 5 teams, well, there's 4 as the stream started. There's been another one listed. I tell you what, the escape and one eyes won't last long. If you're on the floor and you're not a zombie, you get snapped up pretty quickly. So I might just have a quick look at that. And let's have a look at the levels. I mean, the only issue is when you have the Cyclops with the glasses, it just doesn't look as good. But it is funny. I think the wings are a little bit underrated. I don't think there's a lot of chatter about them, and I think it goes nice with the grey background, the grey shirt, the grey wings. I think the black cap always makes it look pretty good. Stats aren't great, skills good, but overall not fantastic. Here we go, 85. So that isn't a beta team. because the beta team start at 100, but that's a team from somebody who is either part of the project, so actually on the project team, or somebody who was gifted a team as part of being close to the project. So this is the wallet that's in. Oh, that's a lovely panda. I'd like to own that one. This is the wallet, and they're selling one team. They had an OG pass, but unless they've purchased that earlier, which I don't think they did, the all the tokens below 100 were actually the teams. Let's have a quick look at this. Sales, transfers. Now, so it was given as mint to this wallet 3 months ago. So I don't know who in the team is getting rid of that one. Maybe they want to sell, take a little bit of a profit out now the floors rose, or they're looking at something else. But to be honest, I don't think that lasts too long. By the end of the night, that'll probably be gone. Quickly, bargain of the last week. I could have done bargain of the last month or the last 2 months. I think this is Stanny's actually, but I looked at this when I saw it, and the floor was at 0.11, 0.12 a couple of days ago when it went through, 2 days ago. And I don't know if Stanny was in the right place at the right time, but I just look how cool it looks. Like it to get that for 0.1169. I know the floor's obviously gone up since then, but it's essentially a floor team, and I don't think whoever's selling it, the stats aren't great. It's not a beta team, but you take a look at that. That's what people are going to pay money for. The look of that team. The Gambling Gnomes is a great name anyway. I wouldn't necessarily be changing the name, but I think with the hat, the background matching the hat colors, it's worth double easily what it is. And I just thought that was a pretty cool looking team in terms of the price that was paid for it. So well done, Stanny, for sniping that one up. There's been some absolutely fantastic sales, to be honest, with people just not knowing how good they've got. There's been some really good, or what I would class good, bargains around the stats teams. There's been some people picking up some very good stats teams. And yeah, Dan, you're right. That's a proper NFTeams. That's like a poster boy NFTeams. You put that on your merch. You put that on the front cover. That's a very, very slick looking team, and to get that so, I mean, 2 days ago and it'd be so under the floor now I thought it was it's pretty good. Okay, any more questions? Anything anyone wants to have a quick look at? If not, we will dive in. As I say, it's been a big couple of months since I was last on here. I track this thing almost daily. I'm probably more active now in the NFTeams strategy part of the Discord. So if you haven't seen that, go into NFTeams strategy. There's a little check mark in the top right hand corner of the page. You click on the check mark, it drops all of the little individual sub channels which are under there, and there's loads of different projects, from stuff that's just minted to the Lazy Lions and upwards, which is 1.8, 1.98 floor. So there's heaps and heaps of stuff that you and I in the Discord are all involved in, and it's really good banter, really good knowledge sharing. You'll learn heaps. But there's been, I tell you what's been really good, the growth of the number of people in the Discord which are really part of the community. I think there's a lot more people now putting stuff into the community. That part of it's grown as well. There might have been 20 or so core people, and now that's 40 and 50. And the Australian Open meetup just showed, to get that many people so early on with everything that's going on with COVID. I think that was pretty good. So everything's grown and trending in the right direction. And we haven't seen, I just had the gas up here, I've just been monitoring, monitor it all the time, but we haven't really seen over the last 2 or 3 days low gas. Just imagine if we'd had that period where the gas was down at 30, 40, 50, 60, where it was for a while last month. The gas has been averaging around about 90 to 100 over the last week, and we've seen all of our sales. So people are still willing to pay the gas. And I think it helps once the floor price rises, the gas becomes less of an overall percentage of what it is we're buying. So people are more likely to forgive it. Sean, just going back to your question, I did pick it up. How much influence do you believe the Oz Open has had on the improvement of sales? The relationship between the Australian Open Metaverse project, I think if Steve was being honest, we probably would have liked to have gone getting in a bit harder with that collaboration. I think what had happened is we got a foot in the door. The MetaKey project was the main front runner with their collaboration, so they had to be really careful with that. A lot of us missed out. Well, I got lucky and got on the whitelist, but a lot of us missed out on the whitelist. I think the Australian Open Metaverse project has had a positive impact. I think in two ways. I think it's brought a few new eyes to the project. But I also think it's given the existing community within NFTeams, within the Discord, follow us on Twitter, it's given extra legitimacy to what we're doing. To get such a big partnership, the sponsors haven't rolled in as quickly as we would like, but I know it hasn't been the focus of Steve so much. He's been having meetings and all the rest of it, and Futera's come online as a yearly sponsor as well. But to have that legitimacy of such a big, they get over 1 billion people tuning in over the course of that 2 weeks. Any kind of, collaboration with that has to be good. So I think it has had an effect, but the biggest effect for me is probably galvanized the existing community into thinking, NFTeams is really going somewhere. If we're getting these collaborations now, what's going to come in the future? We're really only just starting off. So I think I was delighted when I saw it. I wasn't sure how it was going to go. The project's had its ups and downs, the Australian Open Metaverse project. But yeah, I think it's been a great thing. Great question as well, Sean. Yeah, okay. Duck race. We'll wrap it up because I was going to try and get this finished within the 45 minutes. So here is the names. If your name is on here, you have already won something. So apologies if no one on the stream is on here. This was a random number generator based on the people who clicked into the Ballman project and clicked on the NFTeams page and hit the little soccer ball emoji. It was just over 222 of you. We've then random number generated these 16 people. Some of them are a bit more well known than others, but again, that's just the way the random generator went. So out of these 16 people, I'll just go through it again. One's going to win a Ballman NFT. Those are minting at 0.12 ETH in the public sale. You guys will all get whitelisted because we had 250 whitelist spots and less than 250. So if you're in there, you can get a whitelist to 0.1 ETH for the sale. And then there's wild card, which we're going to give away 5 wild card spots. There's only 250 of those, and those get you one mint only at 0.08. So it's quite a bit of discount. A third off the price of the public mint. The wild cards I'll give away in the Ballman channel after this stream later on tonight. I didn't want to clutter the duck race up. So 1 Ballman NFT for the winner of the stream. 2nd to 6th, the winner of the duck race. The second place will get one of 5 signed rackets from Stan, and then there'll be 10 signed tennis balls for those that come after. The duck race, as you know, doesn't. I don't pay for the premium one. I need to get my finger out and pay for the premium one, but it only tells you who's won. So I'll have to go back and confirm who gets the signed rackets, and I'll take a screen grab so it's all legit, and we might have to draw some funny lines over it. So again, apologies if you aren't in here and you're on the stream, but let's just see how it all goes. It's good to get the duck races back. And we'll be doing these each week. Okay, let's get going. 44 seconds. Might give a shameless plug and a shout out to the guys over at Beard Bears while we're waiting for this to go. They've been doing the horse races, and I think the ducks are better, but this is gaining momentum. So Toffer's up for a quick start. You got SD just poking his nose through there. Boatman's got the clown duck in the middle, and he's going well. We normally see something come from the back, and everyone's just jostling for position at the moment. You've got Fat Mick, Mahoney, Trendy, Nielzy, Sojevic, all just hanging out in midfield there. SD went back, now he's going forward, 12 seconds to go. Who's going to come from the back? Mahoney's making a bit of a dive. Fat Mick's coming through. Bloody Oath. Hot Chicken, who's coming through? Is it SD? Is it SD? Is it Toffer? Oh geez, SD. I needed to screen grab that last little bit, but I'll have to go back and have a look. Mahoney, Bloody Oath, I think all got rackets, but SD is the winner. I don't know if SD is on the stream. Well done, SD. That's a Ballman NFT for you, which we'll sort you out with. And we'll get the 5 signed rackets. We'll go back through and have a look at. I'll post those in the I'll post those in the Discord probably in about an hour's time. Just got to jump on another call at 8 o'clock. I think just wanted to say thanks for everyone who's joined in. We've peaked at over 20 viewers, which obviously isn't a massive number, but just to get back has been great. I take all the feedback, send me a DM, drop it in the community involvement channel. I'll put the rerun to this back up so people can go back through and have a look at it. But thanks for tuning in. It'll be weekly from now on. We're back in the swing of things. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys, and we'll catch up with you. We'll catch up with you later.